The Sciforror Film Podcast. Every single time we start doing this, you start yawning.
Lack of sleep, that's what it is.
Okay, are you ready? Hello and welcome to the Sciforror Film Podcast. I am Andy Walker, on the wrong side of the screen. All change. And I'm here with my son, Scott. Hello, Scott.
Hello, what do you mean you're on the wrong side of the screen?
I'm on a different side of the screen to where I normally am on my screen.
I was going to say, on my screen, you're on the normal side.
Ah, see.
That really confused me. Then when you're on the wrong side, I started looking at my side. I'm like, no, that is definitely me.
That's the strangeness of the internet thing.
Strangeness of the internet thing.
Yeah. So, yes, as I say, I'm Andy Walker. I'm here with Scott, my son. Hello, Scott. How are you?
I'm okay. Hoping my voice lasts out because I woke up this morning and, well, as I pretty much got told I would make a killing on certain phone call sites. Where my voice was sounding this morning.
Touch of the Barry Whites.
A little bit, yeah. Those were more Barry White or sort of Frank Bruno the way it was going.
Right. So this week we have a kind of special idea, which is once again we are doing two feature films. We're doing a film and its sequel. So we're going to start off with the 2006 film Silent Hill. Now, this was directed by Christopher Gans. The writer was Roger Avery. The music was by Jeff Danner and Akira Yamaoka. Cinematography by Dan Lawston. And the cast is Radha Mitchell, Sean Bean, who has been in loads of things over the years, especially he was in the Lord of the Rings stuff and a few other things, all sorts of other stuff.
Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones, God knows, he's been in a lot of
Laurie Holden, Deborah Kara Unger, Kim Coates, Tanya Allen, Alice Krieg, who of course probably most famous for playing the Borg Queen in the Star Trek films, and Jodelle Felland. Now the synopsis, I was going to say, we've gone on to doing this thing now, which is I
was wondering if you would have explained it then.
Yeah, I've forgotten. We've got to do this thing because it's taken so long in some films to go through all of the films that the other people in it have been in. I think what we're going to do is we're just going to go through a thing where we're going to list some of the crew and some of the and all of the cast, or as many of the cast as we can. And we're going to leave it at that. But we are going to put up IMDb links to the films. So if you want to check what other films these people have been in, obviously, like we've done with this, we will identify a few key ones if there are ones there that need to be identified. But we're not going to go through a full list of all the films that people have been in because it was getting to a point where sometimes it was taking longer to do that than it was to actually do the review of the film.
Yeah, so when we're getting on to 2 hour worth episodes and only half an hour of it's actually us talking about the films.
Yes, so from now on we're just going to do the rundown of who's in it and things, and then we'll put a link in it so you can look at the IMDb site and see what other things people have been in if you want to. So, yes, the synopsis for this film says a woman, Rose, goes in search for her adoptive daughter within the confines of a strange, desolate town called Silent Hill.
Yeah.
And this is, of course, based on a computer game.
Yes, as I was going to say, this is actually a first for us because it's we've done other films where it's based around games being made of it, or stuff going on, or
Yeah, yeah,
based around the sort of whole idea. But this is actually fully based on the Silent Hill games that
yeah.
are
And I
done.
think this is probably one of the few adaptations of a computer game that I think works really well.
I
Although,
think
having
what I
said
think is
that,
quite funny though is the fact that this is actually based on a real American town,
yeah,
obviously not called Silent Hill, but it's in Pennsylvania, but sorry, by a Japanese team,
yeah. No,
which I
well,
think is a bit weird. But yeah,
but I mean, to be honest, this is another one. It's like, see, I really like the Resident Evil films, and I know a lot of people who played the game don't like them, but I really like them, and I never played the Resident Evil games. But this is the same thing. I've never played the Silent Hill games, so I have no idea what they're like.
pretty much almost place for place for light of the film.
Right. So the film, anyway, we'll go through the film. Now, I saw this film probably about 12 or 13 years ago originally.
Yep.
At the time, the feeling I was left with after watching it was basically that it was just one long Marilyn Manson video.
Yeah.
Uh, having watched it again now, I can see there's a lot more to it than that. Although some of it still does look like it comes from clips from a Marilyn Manson music video.
Yeah.
um, but no, I think it's really good. I think the story works really, really well. I think it's a well thought out story that works
Yeah.
within the context of the um the universe they've created. That's
Yes.
how they're putting it. Um, the only thing is though, is watching this film has never made me feel like I want to play the game.
The thing is, the one thing is is the fact that the game's a lot older than these films,
Yeah,
and it's all it's mainly like PC and old console, so it's nowhere near graphically good as like obviously the film make it out to be.
yeah,
So it's yeah. I've played the first game or the first one of the games of it, and it's a good game, but obviously with all the stuff that's come out now,
mm,
it's naff. But so the film, I think the film does do it justice. It does. It takes a lot of ideas all from um, obviously the company that made it and the creators of the game as well, with the whole concept ideas they had for the creatures and stuff like that.
yeah.
I don't know. It's something. I think it's the whole atmosphere setting of the film really, and the game that I love about it. It's just it's the
Yeah.
fact that
I
it's
mean,
the whole switching as well between everything.
I really like the film. Yeah, I love the way that it switches between the different places and that kind of thing. But the effects are really, really good in this film. They
Mm.
work so well, and they're so well done.
Yeah,
And
it's
considering, I mean, it's it's 2006. I mean, what's that? What's
it
that?
is.
Eh?
Uh, yeah,
17 years.
18, 17, 18 years. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and that's quite a while in things like in film
Yeah,
technology.
especially when you look at we've looked at other films that have been sort of the same time frame with it, and their graphics are atrocious. The ones on this, I know a lot of it is like a lot of the creatures and stuff like that were makeup.
Yeah, it was
Like so, it was
physical.
that, but I know that obviously a lot of the effects on the walls and everything like that was all CGI.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
saying yeah, the fact that that has stood the test of time, being almost 20 years old,
yeah,
and it's just like it's it's still an amazingly graphically good film.
yeah. And I must admit, I mean, the physical makeup and the acting of the people who are playing the kind of the monsters and that sort of thing, especially the nurses.
Yes,
The way that they move and the way that they kind of control their movements to stand so still is
yeah.
incredible.
It's one of the things I remember when I see a review when this first come out of it is the fact that everyone praised the nurses for it. Like the people that played the nurses, the fact that they were so amazingly on point with keeping like there was no. Like, obviously, you see, like no matter how many times you film it, no matter, like you can see in certain things when people are standing still, you can see them swaying and
Yeah.
it's still like I know it's only quick shots, but you can't see any movement in it unless
No.
they're meant to be moving. And I think it's so well done. And the makeup artists in this,
Yeah.
obviously, like they get better in the second one, I think, but this one I think is just so well done. And the visual effects that are in it, a
Yeah.
lot of it. We're not just like some of the creatures, but with the melting of the walls and the changing between
Oh,
the changing between not only within Silent Hill, but obviously then when you see Sean Bean's character and Kim Cot's character, sorry, when they're in the same place but in a completely different place, if that makes
yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
With
Yeah.
the whole switching between it all, and I think it's just so well done with the whole like. I
Yeah.
love the obviously the whole show of the fact that the smoke is the sort of thing that's the different dimension or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I like that about this is that it shows it
Mm.
and then it's the twists and turns on that.
I think one of the other thing for me was the what I thought was done incredibly well was the whole when they burn the bodies and that sort of the effects on that are
Oh
incredible.
yeah,
Absolutely. And
yeah,
also
it's
the young girl actress was brilliant. And she played two roles in the film.
yes,
And they were completely different characters. And to be able to play both roles so well.
yeah, it's and the fact that and the times when they're not okay, not face to face, but in close enough contact for them to have to sort of layer it.
Yeah, yeah,
I think was very well done. But again, like it's just as we said before, it's the fact that a lot of the acting in this is amazing anyway.
yeah,
But her acting is like on a whole nother level.
yeah, yeah.
And I think it just shows that the actress was good. And the same, but all of them, I think, you know, I do love the fact that this film though was pushed forward so much better. The horror film with Sean Bean in it. He's not really in it.
No, he's not in it very much at all, really.
No,
He's kind of like
he's
it's beginning and end, really, isn't it?
yeah, he's in it. You probably see him most for about 10 minutes the whole way,
Yeah.
like in the
I
film.
was I was quite interested because Laurie Holden was in The Walking Dead,
Yeah,
and she's really good in this. But I was really disappointed that she wasn't in it for longer
yeah,
because I think she's a really good actress, and I think that character was really good. And I would like to
yes.
have seen that developed slightly more. I think that would
Yeah,
be good.
there's a few characters in this that I've looked at, and I've like the development of that could be done add so much. Well, not taking away from what they've done, but added so
Oh
much
no,
more to it.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I just
I suppose. I mean, the thing is, you got to look at the amount of the at that time. I mean, nowadays there are a lot of films that are over 2 hours.
yeah, this is what
2006, most films were about sort of hour and a half to hour and 40 minutes.
yeah, this is what
So
2 hours 5 minutes.
yeah, so it was already a lot longer than a lot of films that were coming out at the time. So there was probably a lot edited out
Yeah,
that maybe would have shown more.
but again, the set like I said, the set design of it is amazing.
Oh yeah,
Um, this is the same visual effects. I think cinematography as well. I love some of the actual camera shots
the
that they
the
had,
the
but
tracking
not
shots where the cars going along the road,
yeah,
and all you can see is the lit up road and the car because of the fact the lights in the road and all the rest of it is dark trees.
yeah. And
That was
it's
incredible.
what I like is some of the when you see her first walk into the town and they do the sort of pan down shot through the buggy, and there's
Yeah,
certain bits like that I think was so well done, and the little shots that if you have to be in a sort of right angle to see what's going on.
yeah,
If you're off slightly, it's dark, like it would be in real life. That if you're off slightly to like sort of not standing straight, you wouldn't see directly what's in front of you. And I love the fact that they've done that within the
yeah,
camera
yeah.
work.
No, I agree. I think it's really good. Um, I really like the film. I think it's a great film. The only thing about it for me is it kind of like um, it had a fairly typical American horror film ending, which is one that's left open for a possible sequel.
Yes,
Now, which is what really surprised me was the fact that they did that at the end of the film and it was left open for sequel, but it took them 6 years to make the sequel.
Yes, I know.
Seems a bit odd.
Oh, I think if I remember rightly, they followed the timeline of the games because of the fact that there's a couple of sections within the games about the fact that it does then jump that far forward.
Right.
And I think that's why they done it. Not maybe not just that reason, but they've sort of added so it did fit in.
Yeah.
But again, I do get what you mean about the fact of the way they left it, the ending.
See, I got so fed up with that with 80s films, especially 80s American horror films. Every one of them had an ending that made it look like there was going to be a sequel, even when there was no sequel to it.
Yeah,
And it's like, why do that? Why? What's the point? Um, as occasionally they would make sequels to these films, but the trouble was the sequels were awful.
yeah.
So I don't know.
I don't know. I think it's one of the things that is well for anyone that played the game. That obviously when this come out, it's the fact that no, the way the ending would have carried on. But I think it left it open. It
Yeah.
wouldn't. I don't think for me personally would have mattered if they hadn't made another one.
No, I know, I agree. I don't think it would have made any difference. It still would have been a great film on its own.
Yeah.
It's a great film on its own. But now we talked about it, we might as well go on to the sequel.
Yes.
So the sequel is 2012 Silent Hill Revelation. Now, the director of this is M.J. Bassett, who was also one of the writers, along with Lauren Hadida, who was a producer of the first film, and Hiroyuki Owaku. Hiroyuki Owaku, who was uncredited, but he was one of the writers of the game.
Yeah.
So the music is by Jeff Danner, cinematography Maxime Alexandra, and the cast is Adelaide Clemens, Kit Harington, who to be honest, I didn't recognise him when he first came on because I've only really been aware of his acting in the last few years, and he looks a
Yeah.
lot older
It's,
now.
it's the thing is that seeing Kit now, he doesn't look himself if he's not got the beard and the
Yeah,
he looking very clean shaven. He just looked really odd.
Carrie Ann Moss, Sean Bean, Rada Mitchell, Malcolm McDowell. He was in it for about a second. Martin Donovan, Deborah Cara Unger, Roberto Campanella, Erin Pitt, Peter Outerbridge, Jefferson Brown, Milton Barnes, and Heather Marks.
Yeah.
The synopsis for this one says, when her adoptive father disappears, Sharon De Silva is drawn into a strange and terrifying alternate reality that holds answers to the horrific nightmares that have plagued her since childhood. Dun, dun, dun.
Again, I'm saying about the fact that names added to this and them not being in it for that long.
Yeah,
Sean Bean and Malcolm McDonald in it.
Malcolm McDowell. Yeah,
Malcolm
no,
McDowell, yeah. They're both in it for about 5 minutes.
well, I mean, Sean Bean's actually in this bit more than he is in the first one because he's actually got a slightly meatier bit towards the end,
Yeah,
at the beginning, even than
yeah. But Malcolm McDowell's bit just
Malcolm McDowell. Yeah, I mean, it could have been anybody playing that part, to be honest. It's
yeah.
face it. But hey, it's a name and that sort of thing. Now, I mean, this film looks a lot less like a Marilyn Manson video than the first one did to me.
I don't know. There are
Unfortunately,
moments.
there are moments, but not as many. It doesn't, not as much. But unfortunately for me, it's a lot less of everything than the first film.
Yes, it does almost I think seem a little bit rushed.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's 6 years it took them to make the film, and it feels like they made it quickly, which I
Yeah,
don't understand.
yeah. It seems very rushed, and the story seems to be very fast paced without explaining a lot of everything, and
Yeah,
bits happen, and you're just sort of like, well, why? But yeah, it's still a good film. But I think it's just there. It could have been if it had been the same sort of length as the first one. I
yeah.
think it would have helped if they'd stretched it out a little bit.
But I don't know, because I don't know if I might have got a bit bored with it, to be honest. I'm not saying it's not good. I think it's a good film, but I don't think it's anywhere near as good as the first one.
No, this is the thing is this is fallen prey to a lot of the things. Is the fact that it's a good film, but nowhere it's a good film, but nowhere near as good as the
I
first.
mean, I think one of the best things about the film is the acting by Adelaide Clemens. I think she's a really talented actress,
Yes.
and she came from Australia, and she hasn't done a huge amount of stuff really,
No.
but I think she's a really good actress. I think she did really well in this
Yeah.
film.
I
The only
would like
thing,
to say on both of these as well was the fact that as much as Sean Bean is an amazing actor and I love the stuff he does, he can't do American accents.
no, his accent is a bit off.
It's a bit yeah, but I like to say again the nurses in this they're I'd say dance
Uh,
routine
yeah,
their
yeah. Well, it's
routine
all
of movement
choreographed. Yeah,
yeah
but yeah,
I think was amazing.
that is absolutely amazing. Again, it's quite fantastic the way that they managed
Yeah,
to do that.
again like I said like the makeup and visual effects. This I think
Yeah,
yeah don't think they're the saving grace of this film. Like it
what I,
helps a lot with it.
what I did like was the fact that they managed to make it so the effects in this film were um, very similar to the effects in the first film. Unlike a lot of other films where you get sequels where the effects are so much better than they are in the first film, even though the film isn't
Yeah,
anywhere near as good,
yeah,
the effects kind of overshadow the film. And also, it's like, it's 6 years later, so you don't necessarily expect things to be, I don't know. Do you know what I mean? It just kind
yeah.
of,
I know what you mean. What I like about it is the fact that again with the ending, it's the fact that it ties it up, but it's also left it open for that possibility of what happens next.
yeah, yeah,
It has tied it up quite nicely.
right.
Um,
The only thing I would say about this film for me is the fact that when it was originally showed in 3D. And
yes,
there are some scenes in this film that just seem to be there to show off the 3D effect, and they don't really move the film on or really do anything for the storyline at all. They're just
no,
there because of the fact that they look good in 3D.
yeah. There's a few. I was saying the first time you see Pyramid Head in this film where he's
Mm.
walking like and he's slicing the people's arms off and all that is definitely one of the moments that
Yeah, you got the arms
it's
coming out of the wall. That
yeah
it doesn't really do a lot for the storyline at all.
no it's definitely one of the moments where it's for that effect and even with some of the battle or some of the fight at the end
Yeah,
there's definitely bits to it but I think it's what I liked about this is the fact that it's has that it sort of wraps up both the first one and the second one together. It's
yeah,
not that sort of oh everything was beaten in the first one. We're going to make a second one and loosely tie it together,
yeah. No, it
but
was.
they tie it together quite well.
They do tie it together well, and as you say, it is left with a possibility of there being a third one if anybody was to make it. I'm not overly sure that it should be done, and I don't really know where you would go with it apart from Sean Bean finding his wife. I don't know what you would do with that other than that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just it's one of the things. Is this it can be done possibly, but again I agree. With you, I don't think it should be.
Yeah, I don't think it needs to be
It's
either,
fine the way
really.
it is. Saying that, I will say that I love this film purely for the fact that it's a mix of both that suspenseful horror and the bit of gore.
Yeah, yeah.
That
Okay.
nice mix
I
between them.
think
It wasn't over the top with either.
Yeah, I think both of them do that
Yeah,
well. They kind of mix the kind of suspense of what's going to happen next, what's going on, with the sort of like slasher style stuff as well.
and the fact that he gives that sort, it gives the other sort of forms of horror into it as well, with the whole supernatural side of it and
Yeah,
the ghost side of it and the sort of the missing peoples. So it sort of combines
yeah,
a lot of it, a lot of the different subcultures, subclasses of horror into one.
yeah, definitely. No, I agree. I agree. I mean, yeah, as we said, I do think that it just, given the 6 year gap, it was strange that it seemed to feel that it was a bit rushed and a bit kind of like it wasn't as well laid out as it
Yeah,
could
it
have been.
was.
It wasn't
It
as
was.
well.
it's a good film. But I don't think it was as well presented as the first one.
No,
It's like it's
absolutely.
the first one definitely had that whole sort of shock factor feel to it, and that explanation a bit more. And the second one, as much as it still had it, it was a bit more rushed.
And
Sort
I
of,
think
I don't think it needed.
the first one needed the time to develop, and this one didn't seem to. It developed everything in a very hurried way.
Yeah, and yeah, I agree. It developed in a hurry way, and there was bits added to it that didn't need to be there. I think instead stretched out some of the bits that were hurried and sort of lengthened them and taken out or shortened some of the unneeded bits.
Yeah,
It would have made like 10 times a better film.
absolutely. So there you go. I mean, the two Silent Hill films, they're both good films. I prefer the first one, and I think the first one I would quite happily watch again. The second one, yeah, I'm not.
So
I'm not sure. I'm that worried about seeing it again.
I see. This is a bit of a thing. So I agree with you, but I'm quite happy to watch both of them.
Yeah, I did. I would like to see more stuff with Adelaide Clemens in there because I do think she's very underrated.
He is,
She needs
yes.
to be used more. Kit Harington is a good actor, and he was good in this as he is in almost everything he does. But I do think it would be good to see her in some more stuff.
Yeah, she's looking at her stuff that she's done now. It's not really. It all seems to be sort of all over the place what she's done, and I
Yeah,
think it's she to someone to actually give her a chance like they've done in this. I think would be an amazing step forward.
yeah, yeah. Okay, brilliant. Thank you very much. All that. Next week we will be going back to two short films and a feature film, which surprisingly we are going back in time, back to the dim and distant past. The dim and distant past of cinematography and cinema history.
Oh, okay. I thought for a minute then you meant a time travel film.
And we will be doing a film from the 1930s.
Oh yes. Oh.
Bit of black and white, sort of. I'm
Well,
not sure if it works as a horror film.
is this the one that's still in black and white, or is this the one that you found a colour?
No. This is still in black and white.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure if it's difficult to work out whether it's classed really as horror or as a dark thriller, a mystery
Yes.
thriller. But
Well, we'll let everyone else decide that. I think if
yeah,
they
and
want
we'll
to
decide as
watch
well
it.
because I must admit it's a film I've never seen before, so that'll be.
Woohoo! I found one you ever seen.
Well, you found a few that you haven't seen before.
Yeah, there's a lot for anyone. There's a lot of feature films coming up in the next few weeks, months, maybe. Ones that Ed was struggling to find, or not struggling, but sort of left it to me to find ones, and I went all right, and I did, and yeah, I think I surprised you with a few of them.
You did surprise me with quite a few of them, to be honest. So yeah, it's going to be interesting doing those, to be honest, because
Yeah.
there's a few of them I haven't seen. So it'll be nice. I like the fact that they're films I haven't seen before. In the same way as this week, I was happy to watch the second Silent Hill
Yes.
film as I hadn't seen that before. So yes, next week we have two short films and a old film.
Old film.
Even older than
Oh,
me.
I was going to say almost as old as you. Yeah.
It's older than me. It's older than me by 29 years.
I love the fact you had to make sure.
Well, I went to say 30 years, but then I realised it came out in 1934 and I was born in 1963. So, yes, okay. So we'll be doing that then. Thank you very much, Scott, for your input and your being here and all that kind of thing.
Okay, I'm glad I could do it, and I'm actually glad my voice held out for it as well. As I can, I don't know if anyone can hear, but my voice is now starting to struggle a little bit.
And it's good. It's good to have you choosing some input into the films now. I think that.
Well, I will say there are a couple that are coming up that I had an input for, but there's also ones that Amy had an input for, and
Okay. Well, I
which
mean,
I'm hoping to have her join us again. I think she said that she might be doing it next week or one of the weeks.
well, I'm
She
not sure
did
if you
say
want
she
to do
wants.
Well, next week you might want to do, yeah. Week
Yeah.
after, we'll talk about that. But we do have coming up in about, let me think, 1, 2, 3, about 4 weeks' time, we are going to have 2 weeks where we are doing purely animated films. We have 2 animated shorts and an animated feature film on both of those weeks. So, because we've done a few animated things, and we, I just thought it'd be nice to do a couple of weeks where that's all we do is animated stuff. And a couple of them are very famous ones in the short films. And we'll see how it goes. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you to everyone for watching, listening, taking part, being here, being there, being everywhere. Never let the sun set on your begonias. And when it comes to things, let the things come. Yeah. Okay. Bye.
Bye.
The Sciforror Film Podcast.